Bahamar developer Sarkis Merlian urges a meeting with the government, theft concerns raised at the post office, and a convicted murderer escapes police custody. Find out about these stories and others. I'm your host, Nico Scavella, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. Bahamar CEO Sarkis Merlian this week urged the government to come back to the table and discuss strategies to get the mega resort. The nation's leader said on Monday he was surprised to know Bahamar developer Sarkis Merlian has been seeking to meet him concerning getting the $3.5 billion resort completed and opened. Mr. Ismerlian told the Tribune on Sunday that he had not heard from Mr. Christie since last summer, even though he has submitted proposals geared toward opening the resort and putting Bahamians back to work. In response to this, Mr. Christie said, and I quote, "I will have to call Mr. Ismerlian. I was unaware that Mr. Ismerlian was trying to see me. I didn't know that until I saw Bahamar's former president Thomas Dunlap on Friday night. He didn't tell me he was trying to see me. He told me they had reignited their interest. I was surprised to read in the papers this morning that they've been trying to reach me. Clearly I'm unaware of that, and the officials in the ministry are unaware of that." End quote. The disengagement between the two has been a natural sort of development, Mr. Christie said, one where the developer took the position that he no longer was talking to the provisional liquidators as the matter was before the courts. He said, and I quote, "Receiver managers were appointed to join the provisional liquidators, and for a time Bahamar was on side, and then the provisional liquidators and the receiver managers continued to take certain positions where, as we all know, the staff was reduced significantly, and it is where we are now." End quote. During an emergency executive meeting on Monday called at F&M headquarters, committee members dissuaded party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis from expelling 4 F&M parliamentarians for demanding a public apology from Senator Lanisha Roll, who had publicly criticized them in a call-in radio talk show 2 weeks ago. The executive committee met to consider the statement issued on Sunday by St. Anne's MP Hubert Chipman, Montague MP Richard Lightbourne, North Eleuthera MP Theo Neely, and Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner, demanding that Senator Roll publicly apologize for, and I quote, "unprovoked and extreme remarks," which had left many F&M supporters dismayed. The MPs said F&M supporters throughout the country are waiting to see if Dr. Minnis and Senator Roll will act in an appropriate, collegial, and responsible manner on this matter of principle and proper conduct by the official opposition. However, at the emergency executive meeting, it was reported that only 2 members supported Dr. Minnis' plan to expel the 4 offended F&M parliamentarians. The remaining committee members condemned the suggestion of such a move. However, party chairman Michael Pintard on Tuesday said the F&M was outraged at the false assertion that party leader Dr. Hubert Minnis attempted to expel 4 F&M parliamentarians at an emergency executive meeting on Monday night. He said, and I quote, "The tone of the discussion was insisting the F&M functions as one organization." End quote. With the primary care phase of national health insurance slated for April, the Bahamas Insurance Association says it is willing to compromise on matters related to the healthcare scheme. Bahamas Insurance Association Chairman Emmanuel Komalafe on Thursday suggested that the group is willing to compromise on its stance regarding the administration of NHI, adding that the insurers are not an enemy of the government proposed scheme. Mr. Komalafe said while the BIA's stance on NHI's administration has been made quite clear to the NHI Secretariat, the association is willing to see what it is that they can do with regards to softening its stance and resuming discussions with officials. However, the BIA chairman conceded that there has been minimal movement in terms of the government's discussions with the BIA over NHI's administration. He said the last meeting was facilitated by the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation in December. Mr. Komalafe said on Thursday, and I quote, "I think it's quite clear to the NHI Secretariat as to our position, but we also know in businesses of this nature there has to be some compromise on both sides, and we're willing to do that. We're willing to talk about it, see what it is that we can do, because let's face it, we all support universal health care." He then added, and I quote, "This is not a fight. There's no fighting generally. The reality is we may disagree on certain aspects of the plan and all that, but that doesn't make us fighters or enemies or adversaries of the program. It's just everyone contributing, the professionals from the various industries contributing to this progressive initiative." End quote. Mr. Komalafe's statements, though conciliatory in nature, were the latest in a saga of strained relations between the government and insurance stakeholders over the administration of NHI. The BIA, comprised of 31 insurance companies, brokerages, and agencies, is hoping that the government will abandon its plans to establish a public insurer and instead work towards offering affordable premiums to citizens along with its proposed vital benefits plan. To accomplish this, the BIA had proposed the removal of value-added tax from all medical services and medical insurance, and the reduction of premium taxes in order to make healthcare more affordable. The BIA also called for the establishment of a legislated body made up of the industry, the government, and civil society to set rates for the plan. However, members of the Progressive Liberal Party have hit out at the BIA, with Chairman Bradley Roberts labeling the group as an insurance cartel that simply wants unfettered powers to raise premiums to ensure profits. In his audit report of the Post Office, Auditor General Terrence Bastian warned of an alarming amount of alleged theft, with at least one of its practices branded a breeding ground for improprieties. The audit of the government's 2013-2014 accounts, which was tabled in the House of Assembly on Wednesday, called for the Post Office to be restructured and immediate actions taken where there is evidence of theft by staff. The flaws and weaknesses identified by Auditor General Terrence Bastian and his staff include the Postmaster's bank account at Bank of the Bahamas in Freeport continues to be unreconciled. Funds deposited and dispersed from this account were regularly being sent to Nassau via check, regardless of whether it was in surplus or overdrawn. The report detailed at least 2 cases where money was either missing or misappropriated. It also said a former post office cashier in Ragged Island admitted in an interview with the Auditor General's staff that she had misappropriated a large amount of funds when in that position. This was done by sending money orders to other islands in the Bahamas, even though no funds had been received to back these before they were issued. A 26-year-old convicted murderer escaped police custody on Tuesday as he was being transported back to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. An island-wide manhunt remains underway for a convicted murderer who escaped from custody on his way to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services on Tuesday. According to police, 26-year-old Orman Leon escaped from a police bus on York Street off East Bay Street while being taken to prison around noon. Leon had just left a Supreme Court hearing where he was told he would be sentenced for murder in 2 weeks. On Tuesday, officers flooded the inner city looking for the convict who was considered armed and dangerous. Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel told reporters on Key West Street at the time, and I quote, "For some reason he did not want the court's justice, so we are here to look for him and to bring him to justice. We are not going to stop until we find him. We have information that he's already linked up with some of his associates and want to warn those people now they better turn him in. We are going to be searching every crease and corner to find him. He's not going to sleep," end quote. Meanwhile, police arrested nearly 20 people between Wednesday and Thursday for assisting and providing shelter for the convicted murderer, ACP Bethel told the Tribune. He said the RBPF doubled efforts to find the escaped convict. He remains at large. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website, www.tribune242.com, like us on Facebook, Tribune News Network, subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242, or send us a tweet at Tribune242.